it's Allison here. Thanks so much for joining me on today's Thursday video. So I want to share with you guys today just kind of what God has been doing in my life recently as far as how he's helped me as a stay-home mom kind of come to peace with being a stay-home mom. Because I think for myself, as a lot of women, like there's been a tension of, I want to be home with my kids. I know that's important. It's a priority in my life. But at the same time, I know I'm capable of working. I know I'm capable of so much more. And I have these gifts and these talents and I have goals and I have things I want to do. And like, I'm not doing them. And there's just this like tension. And so I want to share with you just kind of my journey and how God has helped me with that. And I'm going to be reading from you actually more towards the end, the Psalm 131, 1 and verse 2, about kind of how that God used that Psalm to help me come to like a place of peace. And so I first of all want to say that I believe there's no like one right way for women, for moms. Like some moms are called to be working and some moms like don't have a choice because their family financially needs them to work, or you are a single mom and like it's a privilege to have the choice. Okay. So I know some women are called to work. Some women don't have a choice. They need to financially. And then I know some women are called to be home with their kids. And so I have been both. I have absolutely been both. I was a working mom actually for the first like almost 8 years of my son's life. I was a Mary Kay sales director and started being a sales director before I had kids. And I wasn't just like doing it a little bit, like I was working like full on. I had my own office. I actually, when I had kids, I had a nanny come a few days a week. I had the free cars, like all those things that you've heard about in Mary Kay. Like I was like on it. I love going for goals. I've always been very competitive and a goal-oriented person. I look back at like, I was in sports for sure, but I even look back, I also played the piano when I was in second grade all the way like through my junior year of high school. And I liked music, but like I didn't love music. What I actually loved was I loved the challenge of getting a piece of music and like little by little working on that piece of music till like I got it and got really good at it. And that's just how I've always been. And so I was really all in on being a Mary Kay sales director. And 2 years ago, I resigned for Mary Kay and decided to be at home. I decided to be at home. And there's a lot of different things that went into the decision, but the main thing was I just felt like God was calling me to have this one focus at home and to develop different sides of me as well. But that was just, there's a whole lot more to that story, but that's really the gist of it. You know, nothing like bad happened or something. Like it just was the gist of it. Like I felt like I was needing to follow God in this area of my life. And there's so much I could tell you about what God's taught me through that, and that I can see now that God is like has needed for me to be in this place. Okay. Even needed me to be in this place, even for me to someday like return back to work. Like I needed to go through this in order to like appreciate the work, if that makes sense. Okay. So anyway, I'm going to talk about that in a different video, but today I want to talk to you about when you're like right now, like me, where I am right now. And that is just, you're in a season of just being at home and waiting on your own, like other things that you feel like God wants you to do, but those are on the back burner. And that can be a really frustrating place. So as I was saying in the beginning, there's no one right way. I have done both as a mom. And there's no wrong way, there's no right way. The only thing that is right is that we follow what God has called us to do, that we're paying attention and that we have the courage to listen to the little voice of the Holy Spirit leading us. We have the courage to listen to it. And so that's the right thing to do. The wrong thing to do is not working mom, stay-at-home mom, vice versa. Like that, there's not right nor wrong. the wrong thing to do would be to do one or the other because we feel like that's what we're expected to do, because that's what we feel like would please people, because that's what we feel like we have to do, or we don't have the courage to change. Like those we want to follow God. So as I like was resigning from Mary Kay, one of the things that was hard for me is I have a daughter and she's now 5. She's almost 5.5, and she is like a go-getter and a half. And so what I realize is what I want to teach her, more than teach her like how to hit goals. Okay? Like, it's cool, that's great. Like that's great. I do teach her that. I want to continue to teach her that. But like, what's more important to me to teach her? Like, it's not the end all be all. Okay, the end all be all is I want to teach my daughter and now daughters to follow God, to have the courage to listen to Him above all else, and to follow God. And God will lead us in the most adventurous ways, and sometimes in the craziest ways. And so one of the things, I'm going to share with you 2 things that God has taught me like in the last like couple weeks about being a stay-home mom, and that restlessness and that frustration that I sometimes can feel, and I know a lot of stay-at-home moms feel, kind of that war between us of I could do more, but I'm waiting for that. Is number 1 is that there's humility. There's humility in the waiting, and no matter if you are a working mom and you're in a season of waiting to like get to the next level or get that promotion or something like that as well, like anytime there's a season of waiting, there is a humility that God is working in us in the waiting. And so I'm going to read to you Psalm 131, the beginning of it. My heart is not proud, O Lord. So there's the humility. God, my heart's not proud. My eyes are not haughty. I do not concern myself with great matters or things too wonderful for me. So I feel like it's saying, I felt like I was saying, just stop trying to concern yourself with the timing, with the why, with what do you have for me, God? How long, God? Like, I don't know God's full plan. I'm going to stop guessing. I'm going to stop asking. I'm just going to stop concerning myself with that. And instead, but the verse says, but I have stilled and quieted my soul. I've humbled myself. I'm going to still and quiet my soul before God. So that's the first thing, is that there's just a humility that we want to have in the waiting. And then number 2 is I want to enjoy this season of my life. I want to enjoy the time that I have home. There will be a time for many of us that we will get to crush the goals, that we will get to go for things. We will get to pursue our dreams. We will have new opportunities. And that time right now is not happening. And so I want to enjoy the season of rest that I have at home. And so that's something that I'm really focusing on, is just settling in and just enjoying this time of only focusing on my baby and my kids and my husband and my family. Like that's like a blessing that I've never had before, because I was always working when I had babies, and there's advantages to that, like things I loved about it. And then this also is an advantage. I just get to fully focus on my one focus is on my home, and I want to enjoy that. And I always wish I was in a different place. So it's one thing I'm really focusing on, is just looking at the enjoyment, and then just praying towards that next opportunity that and season of life that I know will be here like before I know it. Okay, so to wrap up, I want to share with you something that I read on my Instagram from Jenny Allen. And if you don't know Jenny Allen, she is a Bible teacher, and she has like a conference called the If Gathering, and she has a really great podcast called Made for More, and I highly recommend it. It's super good. But she posted on Instagram like the day after Halloween or something, like a picture of her family 10 years ago. And in the post, she wrote about how she had 3 little kids. And so she wrote, this was pre If Gathering. This was pre like all these things that we see in her now. Like we see her having a huge influence, doing big things for God. I just see her, I'm like, I want to be at that, like the way that she thinks and the way that she pursues goals and things like that, like and pursues like pressure and just good things, work ethic. Like I want to be like that. So I see where she's at now. So 10 years ago, she's like pre all that. She's like, I was home with these 3 kids. She's like, I was mostly having, dinner ready, lunch, breakfast. She's like, I was informally discipling 2 of their babysitters. She's like, she was writing Bible studies and just doing with a few ladies at her church. So she's doing just all these like behind the scene things that nobody really saw. She didn't even like know was part of her development at the time. And so she was like, I want to share with like that girl and the girls who are in that season now. She wants to share with us these words, and I'm gonna read it to you because it was so helpful. She said, and it's all about being in that season and winning, because I think a lot of times what I miss is I miss that feeling of winning and feeling like I'm accomplishing like something big. And even though as I say that out loud, I know that it's a like accomplishment and it's a priority and it's important and great value to be home, but sometimes it's like I just need somebody, I need to say it out loud, and I need somebody to tell me and encourage me in that. And so if I feel that, I'm sure some of you feel that, and I want to encourage you with her words. So Jenny Allen says, I was winning. When she looks at that picture 10 years ago, she says, I was winning, so much so it makes me cry at this girl as I type all that, because I don't remember ever hearing that I was winning or even thinking I was winning. I felt the opposite most days. So to the stay-at-home moms with little kids, you are winning. You are winning. No one is cheering. No one is noticing. But trust me, the small things you are doing are building souls in heaven. Just keep going. It matters more than I can convince you on Instagram. It matters more than any of us can imagine. And so I just want to close by saying that we're going to humble ourselves before God and encourage us to enjoy this season. If you are a stay-at-home mom, enjoy this season at home with our children, and to let you know that together, like as moms, no matter what we're doing, like we are winning. We are winning in the little things that nobody sees, that we're never on stage. We're never getting the accolades at this season. No one's telling us. We don't have a voice. We don't have an influence except with the little faces in front of us. And sometimes we feel like we don't even have it there, But every day we show up and we work hard for our families and we follow God. And it's a place of humility and following Him here in our society today. And I just want to encourage us that we are winning as we do that. We're winning as we're following God in that. And so I hope that encourages you today to just keep going, just as Jenny Allen said. So, all right. Thanks so much. Have a great day.